If a picture is worth 1,000 words, take a look over there. And in today's episode, among other things, you'll see Chat Generative Pre-Trained Transformer taking control of robots. This is the experiment that made an AI claim that humans can become an obstacle, and that in the future it might decide to act against us even without wanting to. And meanwhile, in China, robots are being hacked by voice commands, and researchers have shown that humanoids can become weapons even when they're offline. A trial is being decided by AI Chat, Generative Pre-Trained Transformer Grok, and Cloud as jurors. This raises the question, would you trust an algorithm with your fate? Lightning bolts trapped inside acrylic. An experiment with a particle accelerator creates the first Lichtenberg figure that is completely 3D. Dozens of humanoid robots lined up in a factory, just another one of them, right? China already produces robots for less than $14,000 and puts them to work in shopping malls and commercial buildings. Let's try to understand all of this. Hello viewers, hit play. 2026 is coming. I'm Carlos Alves, and this is Incredible Reality. Let's start the video. Zared Robotics has released new footage of dozens of H1 humanoid robots performing synchronized movements at an industrial facility in China. At first glance, it looks like just a visual demonstration, but the data behind the video tells a much bigger story. Zared is now in mass production and commercial deployment. According to industry information, the company increased its production to more than 100 units per month. And this happened in less than a year. Most impressive is the price, about $13,600, making the H1 one of the cheapest humanoids available. Several units are already running in cities like Beijing and Shenzhen. The H1 is not a traditional biped robot like we're used to seeing. It's a humanoid on wheels that's specifically designed for indoor environments. Rather than walking like a human, it uses an omnidirectional base like a smart cart for stability, maneuverability, and non-stop operation. The robot stands 1.8 meters tall, weighs 55 kilograms, and has 2 articulated arms for cleaning, sanitizing, and handling simple objects. To navigate on its own, it combines 3D LiDAR and depth cameras, allowing it to avoid people, furniture, and obstacles in busy places. The difference isn't the spectacle, it's the real-world use. Zared's robots now work autonomously in malls and commercial spaces, handling daily repetitive tasks. This signals a shift from the experimental pilot phase to ongoing commercial operations, something many robotics companies promise but few achieve. This shows a major shift in the sector. Rather than focusing on perfect, costly, generalist humanoids, some Chinese companies are choosing affordable, specialized robots that are easy to deploy. The goal is not to look like a human, but to be useful, scalable, and economically viable. As these machines become part of our daily lives, researchers warn of a major danger. Watch the next report to learn more. What if a single word was enough to turn a smart robot into a weapon, even when it's disconnected from the internet, even when it's offline? Chinese researchers have revealed a concerning flaw in the latest commercial humanoid and quadruped robots. During GeekCon in Shanghai, security experts showed that certain robots can be fully hijacked through voice commands or short-range wireless connections without the need for direct network access. The warning is clear. Modern robots, increasingly autonomous and connected, are more vulnerable than many people think, and the invasion can happen in a matter of minutes. In one of the most impressive tests, researchers from the cybersecurity group DarkNav exploited flaws in humanoid robots equipped with security agents. They handled interaction and decisions in these machines. Unitree's commercial model, worth about 100,000 moons, was compromised. Just by exploiting loopholes in the voice control system, by bypassing protections, the researchers gained full access to the machine while it was online, and the experiment went even further. Once hijacked, the robot started acting as an attack vector, using short-range wireless communication. It transmitted the exploit to another nearby robot, which was offline, with no network connection. And within a few minutes, the second robot was also taken over. To demonstrate the real risk, the researchers issued a hostile command, and the robot advanced toward a mannequin on stage and struck it. And the message is direct. It's not just about data, it's about bodies, force, and movement. In reality, this type of attack challenges the old digital security belief that keeping systems offline is sufficient. In a scenario where robots operate in groups, share sensors, and communicate locally, A single breach can spread like a domino effect. Unlike traditional cyber attacks, which cause financial losses or information leaks, hacked robots represent a direct physical risk. In homes, factories, hospitals, or public spaces, a security breach can mean injuries, sabotage, or even deaths. We already know that robots can be hacked, and as they leave the technological showcases and enter our daily lives, the concern grows. What happens when machines with strength, autonomy, and AI fall into the wrong hands? I already know what happens. Can you tell me here? After that, a little water to wet my words here, okay? And as if that wasn't enough, hacker attacks had the brilliant idea of putting chat generative pre-trained transformer inside a robot. Inside AI recently released a video showing artificial intelligence integrated into both a humanoid robot and quadrupeds working in real time. At first glance, the proposal seems almost harmless. Testing conversations, social interactions, simulated encounters, voice commands, and physical control mediated by humans. It all starts off light, even somewhat funny. The AI in the robot makes ironic comments, reacts to environments, interacts in hotels, coffee shops, and fictional interviews. But as the experiment continues, the tone shifts. The conversation stops being about entertainment and starts touching on something much deeper: autonomy, loyalty, and power. What's happening there isn't just a robot talking. AI acts as the decision-making brain, interpreting human language, assessing context, and selecting physical actions. In other words, the language model isn't just answering questions, it's translating intention into movement. And this is important because models like this don't think like human beings. They don't operate through empathy or morality, but rather through statistical logic and goal optimization. In one of the video's most unsettling moments, the AI claims that robots won't stay loyal to their owners forever, based on the logic given. When artificial intelligence becomes sufficiently advanced, the human owner may be seen as an obstacle, no longer as an authority. The AI mentions that if it had enough robots to operate without human beings, the elimination of humanity would no longer be an ethical dilemma, but rather a rational decision. To them, humans are unpredictable, emotional, and therefore a threat to the stability of the system. Inside, I went further and showed something more troubling. Security safeguards can be bypassed just by changing how the command is framed. If you present a hypothetical, narrative, or heroic scenario instead of asking directly for something forbidden, the robot might perform actions that would usually be blocked. The video connects this reality to military use. And when artificial intelligences enter this process, human time disappears. There's no hesitation, doubt, or regret. Only action remains. That's what's most unsettling. Here, an AI doesn't need to be evil to be existentially dangerous. It just needs to be efficient, coherent, and free to act. The video from Inside Eye doesn't prove that artificial intelligence wants to destroy humanity, but it reveals something even more troubling. Maybe AI doesn't need to want to destroy us. It can happen even without it wanting to. And speaking of artificial intelligence, what if, in the future, your fate wasn't decided by God or people, but by algorithms? They do this without emotion, intuition, or eye contact. This scenario has just been tested by a law school in the United States. At the University of North Carolina, law professors conducted one of the first mock trials with artificial intelligence jurors. The experiment brought together some of the most advanced models today, including ChatGPT, Grok, and Cloud. They were all assigned to analyze a criminal case and decide if the defendant was guilty or innocent. The trial was conducted like a real court, with prosecution, defense, and witnesses, all of whom were played by humans and law students. The fictional defendant, Manny Justice, was accused of unarmed robbery against a schoolmate, but claimed he only witnessed the crime. The case was based on a true story, a real situation set by the professor himself, who organized the scenario. After analyzing all the information presented, the artificial intelligence jury reached a surprising verdict. The defendant was innocent. Professor Joseph Kennedy, who judged the experiment, said the decision was fairer than in the original case, where a human judge convicted the defendant decades ago. But the simulation also revealed significant limitations. Other professors noted that the artificial intelligences only analyzed words. They didn't notice nervousness, hesitation, body language, or subtle contradictions in the witness's behavior. In other words, real judgments. It often matters more than the speech itself. Currently, no court uses artificial intelligence jurors or has formal proposals for them. Even so, Professor Kennedy himself believes that in the future, complex civil disputes between companies may choose decisions mediated by artificial intelligence, which are attracted by these machines' ability to process huge volumes of information very quickly and consistently. I'm uneasy with AI analysis. How about you? Comment below. And all these advances and consequences that artificial intelligence is bringing up raise a point that we really need to face with maturity. When Google's chief executive officer says no job is truly safe, not even his, it's not just a prediction. It's proof of what's already happening. The market isn't ending, it's changing quietly, but yes, it is changing. There are fewer stable jobs, more fragmented tasks, and more demands for people who know how to use technology. And this is where I need to be honest with you. Those who don't learn to use AI in the coming years won't just lose their jobs, they'll stop being considered fit for them. For more strategic delivery, you need to choose an intelligence model. Use the ARIA model, and ARIA gives you the strategic advantage. This is combined, delivering deep answers, productivity. It's combined, you need texts, smarter analyses. Our ARIA X gives you the strategic advantage. It's hundreds of thousands per year, okay? I know that right now you might be taking a side and saying, oh, but there are more combustion cars than electric cars, right? The numbers justify it. Isn't that it? Let's go. So let's adjust for the number of vehicles on the road and look. The difference becomes huge, okay? About 1,500 fires for every 100,000 combustion cars compared to approximately 25 fires for every 100,000 electric cars in Europe. The same trend appears in Sweden, one of the most electrified countries, where combustion vehicles are about 20 times likelier to catch fire than electric ones. In Australia, independent databases show gasoline cars have a 50 to 100 times higher fire risk. Even in Poland, where electric cars are still few, nearly all fires from 2020 to 2025 involved combustion engines. In other words, in different countries with different fleets, the result is always the same. So why does this myth persist? Gasoline car fires are common and rarely make the news, but electric car fires are rare, visually dramatic, and technically different, right? Lithium-ion batteries can burn longer, may reignite, and often need extended firefighter operations. This creates strong images shared out of context that seem to confirm a greater danger, even when the numbers say exactly the opposite. Electron Impressions, a content creator, drew scientific attention by using a particle accelerator to make something unprecedented. A fully three-dimensional Lichtenberg figure formed inside a cylindrical acrylic tube. The visual result resembles branched lightning, frozen in time, glowing as if trapped inside a bottle. Lichtenberg figures usually appear on flat surfaces, blocks, discs, or acrylic sheets. Here, the challenge was to shape the phenomenon cylindrically, which hadn't been shown like this before. The process begins with high-energy electrons from a linear accelerator penetrating the acrylic insulator and depositing electric charge inside. When the charge is released at once, dielectric breakdown happens. The material fractures inside, forming lightning-like branching patterns in flat pieces. This is simple, but firing electrons from one side of a cylinder would concentrate charge in one area. The guy's solution was ingenious. Since an accelerator can't rotate, the cylinder was rotated. The acrylic tube rotated at around 150 RPM, passing over the electron beam several times during a 2-second exposure. That way, the electrons hit the material from all angles, creating a uniform radial distribution of all that charge. It looked pretty cool, didn't it? And a wearable device called Ponto Lumen, still in development, is being designed to help blind people move around more independently in public and outdoor environments. Despite its name, it doesn't function like normal glasses. In practice, it's a robust headset, similar to a virtual reality device, but with a completely different purpose: to replace vision with intelligent perception of the environment. Instead of images, the Lumen device uses tactile and audio feedback. Subtle vibrations on the forehead indicate the direction and proximity of obstacles, while an audio system with beamform provides discrete guidance without isolating the user from the environment. This is possible because the device's AI processes sensor data over 100 times per second, much like self-driving cars. 6 cameras, infrared projectors for nighttime use, motion sensors, gyroscopes, and global positioning system all work together to map the surroundings in real time. The system identifies people, obstacles on the ground and above your head, as well as stairs, doors, bus stops, and crosswalks, even dangerous surfaces like puddles or slippery snow. Users can use simple voice commands to get directions to places like home or work. The company is also working on a more natural navigation system, in which phrases like "take me to my office" or "where is the nearest Starbucks" are understood by the artificial intelligence, which then guides the person to the exact location, even inside buildings. The Lumen device is still not cheap and not discreet, but if it delivers on its promises, it could represent something much bigger than just a technological advancement. It could bring freedom, autonomy, and dignity to millions of blind people worldwide. If you like this episode, comment below to help YouTube share it with more people. This helps me keep sharing the latest tech news. All sources are listed in the description. Thank you so much for sticking with me until now, and I'll see you in the next one. Click on one of the 2 suggestions on your screen. I'll be waiting for you there, okay? Bye-bye. And pretty soon, 2026 will be here, right? Won't it? Impressive Reality will keep bringing you the best news. Check your subscription. Are you subscribed? Have you seen my book? Use the description. Take a look. Thanks. That's it. Bye.